And good evening everyone who is watching the stream of AD. I've changed the tune a little bit, the tone of the tunes. It sounded a little bit like too spacey for the stream, which is going to be pretty grounded, by the way. So technology, but this type of technology. Teka, good evening, welcome. So what it's going to be? It's going to be just disassembling my rig, changing the motherboard, and then assembling everything again, but with some additional, without some things and with some new things. So today I managed actually to be, unfortunately I didn't manage to be here in time. The preparation of this whole thing took way longer than I expected, so I thought it would be like 3 hours. I ended up preparing it for 5 hours with breaks though. So but first of all, this is my main rig, but I'm currently streaming so I needed another rig to be able to stream another rig that pretty much would work as my main rig. So then of course this change, I have a spare PC that's powerful enough for this task and pretty much for many other things, capable of doing pretty much all the same stuff as my main rig, just a little bit slower. And then everything else like cameras, cleaning up, I ended up actually, when I opened this one, I realized that I won't be able to clean it on camera. At least I need to get rid of the dust, need to blow some air. So I used my new blower device, which is absolutely, well, it is very good. I wouldn't call it something absolutely amazing, but it's a very good one. So this type of thing here, it costs like 6 cans of pressurized air, good pressurized air that's not combustible. So 6 cans of good pressurized air, and it's rechargeable, and it's pretty much what it is. It is a blower with a fan. So 3 different speeds and whatnot. Pretty nice device to get rid of dust, well, pretty much everywhere. So but of course I don't do this stuff in my flat here. The dust would have been everywhere, so had to do it outside. And then some additional cleaning, because yeah, it was dusty. I just realized that I actually assembled this PC like 400 streams ago, so that would be more than a year. Yeah, it's not like I've never opened it. I had to since then, but it was pretty much small changes. Like the smallest change was taking out GTX 1080, my video card, and installing RTX 3090. Wasted, good evening, welcome. Well, a compressor, it's kind of like a little bit hardcore to have it. If you live in a flat, if you live in like house, you have a backyard, you have like a shed with tools and whatnot, a garage, yeah, a compressor would be perfect. But if you live like just in a small apartment, then yeah. And of course I do the stuff only outside, the dedusting. So Crimson Zamboni, good evening, welcome. And I use a paintbrush and vacuum cleaner myself a lot, but I needed to just dedust it a little bit for a start. So today, since I'm late, preparing everything, this stream took like a stupid amount of time. So as I say it, like I'm streaming something from something. I'm using something to stream right now, but my main rig is here, so that took time. That's why I have a spare computer. But again, everything takes time. I ended up actually cleaning a lot, reorganizing things a lot, so things like that. And because of that, today maybe we'll only start to disassemble it. So one thing that's going to be new, that I'm very proud of, I posted a lot about it on Twitter, but never, I haven't done any IRL streams, so any PC building streams, so I've never shown it live. It's this baby. It's an old professional video card that is roughly comparable to GTX 1080 Ti, but it has 24 gigs of RAM, VRAM. I bought it to experiment with large language models because my 3090 with 24 gigs of RAM wasn't enough. Unfortunately, I made a small mistake. This card doesn't really have any good FP16 performance, and barely has any FP16 performance. This is what? It's P40 Tesla P40 card. So is it? Yeah, Tesla P40. So it's a professional card, doesn't have video output, but not only you can use these professional cards, pretty much everything, maybe up to the most modern ones that cost like thousands and thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. So this one's old one, so GTX 1080 era of cards, and you can use it in conjunction with your normal consumer card, and you can even make it work as a gaming card. You would need something for video output too, something to output video, pretty much any other video card or something that's like in your motherboard or in your CPU, so that would work too. But it can game, and it would be like, I tried it already, posted it on Twitter, something kind of a little bit, maybe a little bit faster than GTX 1080 Ti, but with 24 gigs of RAM. So that goes in as my second card. Maybe I will later swap it, so it's P40. I'll later swap it for P80 or P100, I don't remember. So there's the card that's pretty much like this one, but it's 16 gigs of VRAM, not 24, 16 gigs of VRAM, but it has some FP16 performance, so it can do some 16, is it bits? I don't remember. So some calculations of floating point calculations of this type, FP16, which is pretty much what you need to run, as far as I understand. Well, I mean, you can run it either way, but you would need to run to load and run large language models using transformers. That's a mechanism of just running it. So there are like quantized models, plus you can quantize them on the fly. So quantization is like a way of making it smaller, changing the amount of bits they use, but by default they use Safe Tensors models, they use 16 bits, so FP16, that's what you need. Okay, that's like what's going to be new. Now, why am I changing the motherboard? First of all, this motherboard is DDR4. Long story short, I ended up making a mistake. Instead of just getting myself a DDR5 motherboard from the start, I just thought that I had enough DDR4 memory. So, and that's why I bought this motherboard. Turned out that I didn't have enough DDR4 memory. I don't know how I made that mistake, but it was just this. So I had to buy DDR4 memory for this one, and that was already kinda a bummer. And I bought, of course, 64 gigs. That's because that's how it is. So another problem with this motherboard is that it is actually one of those motherboards, I believe, with problematic controller, so network interface card. Unfortunately, I have a feeling, I couldn't confirm it, but that one, it's an Intel one, 2.5 gigs, and like a couple years ago, if you remember, that it was like a big thing in the news. Unfortunately, it looks like updates, BIOS updates, never fix the problem for me, at least. But again, I never confirmed it. I'm not sure it is the thing. But again, because of that problem, I'm running. I have a separate network interface controller in my system, so that goes away. So yeah, okay. And another thing is that maybe I will be able to toss the things that I have in here that way, with the new motherboard that has a different, a little bit differently placed PCIe slots. Then maybe I'll be able to install these without actually using a riser. And yeah, this bloody thing won't let me even. Oh, freaking hell. Okay, so that's a problem. My 3090 is simply too big. So this might not really... Well, I mean, technically it would fit like here. But for that, it has to be like exactly right. The motherboard has to have exactly right configuration of PCIe slots on it. So we'll see, but yeah, it's going to be a very tight fit. And cooling, oh boy. Okay, cooling is going to be another problem. As you can see, this card doesn't have any coolers on it because it's professional card and it has to be cooled in a server by just in a rack mounted case, just by the fan of the case. So that's why people come up with adapters like this one, but we have a small problem here. There's this cage with hard drives, so, and I cannot remove it because I actually need this cage. Only if it was like one step smaller. So this thing mounts like here, plus it has fans, and yeah, oh, so this is getting in the way. Okay, this is getting interesting. So the cage, hard drive cage, gets in the way. I cannot really have it here, but I need these hard drives. So there's two, and it's not like I actually need them. Well, I need them both because they both have storage, but this case still have two 5-inch cages, 2 5-inch slots, so that I use for that's like hot swappable hard drive, what's it called, cradle cage, and then there is like another thing here for 2.5-inch hard drives, SSDs, so both like for SATA stuff. So if I just remove all this stuff and put 2 my hard drives here, then I'd be able to get rid of this cage. Okay, that's getting way more interesting than I expected. So when I got this card, I thought that I would have a little bit more space here, and I have a little bit more space here. Indeed, I have, but up here, not down here. So, okay, this is getting interesting. So normally this adapter goes here like this, and this one is 3D printed, and this model of this fan adapter is for 4 centimeter fans, I think, 40mm fans. So, but different adapters are possible, though I won't be able to use any of them the way this cage is in the way. It has to be removed. Okay, that's turning into a real adventure now. Unexpected adventure. So, and I need some real space. Well, technically, I'm just being lazy, to be honest. So the hard drives that are here, I used 1 gigabyte. It's pretty much like random data. And then in total it's like 4 and 6, and then the rest of it, so 9 gigabytes, it's like a video related to streaming. So there's an archive of streams recorded by OBS and recorded by Shadowplay, gameplay recorded by Shadowplay, and it's like so OBS stuff is there just in case. I can pretty much cut the archive of OBS streams to really small length, but again, just getting 10 terabyte drive instead of these two and installing it here, keeping one of the cages at least, would be a good idea. Or maybe finding a way just to put one drive here instead of this whole cage. I wish this case had a cage like for 2 drives only. For wasted, yeah, I know. It's like I know about those 40mm fans. It's like pretty much turbines, but I'm not going to use those. I kind of tried did some experimentation. Since I'm not going to like constantly hit this card with 100% loads, like for prolonged periods of time. So 2 standard 40mm fans should be pretty much enough to keep it cool. I'm not going to game on it, though it's possible. I actually found a way. I posted a lot about it on Twitter. So, but pretty much as far as I understand how the whole thing works, probably it's going only to be used as VRM, not even as device doing some math. But again, gotta figure that out. So for now, we gotta start disassembling, because either way, with the new card, the new old card, or with the without it, we have to change the motherboard. We have to change the motherboard. Don't tell me that I'll have to buy a larger case. This one's actually is a very good case. It's just 3090. It's a little bit too big. It's a freaking brick. Just give me a sec. Okay. Unknown Profit, good evening, welcome. Okay, so today what we can do, we can disassemble it, because we need to get the motherboard out. So let's start disassembling. First with things, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this computer, because it's used pretty much for a lot of stuff. Not only for gaming, but not only for streaming, but for example, it captures the video from the second PC. There's a capture card, so it uses not just one but two audio interfaces, because I like voice processing on one audio interface, and another one works as just my, okay, this has to be removed too. Another one works just as a normal audio interface. So everything will, pretty much everything will have to go in order to change the motherboard. So this is, these are just some real USB 3 slots. Pretty packed, yeah, indeed it is. And I wanted just to pack this thing additionally in after changing the motherboard, but the cooling, additional cooling, does not fit. So, but I'm curious if I can actually make it even more packed. Okay, this goes out. So, a nice adjustable thingy, pretty much a stick for propping up the video card to prevent sagging. So no, it will fit. It will fit. The cooling is not going to fit. J Brown, no, they are not super expensive. I don't know. There's so much of strange rumors about Russia. They're not super expensive. It's just the Russian population is just way poorer than like European countries or the States or whatnot. So no, I think the price is roughly the same would be. Oh, this is not good. So these cables come here, and this card pushes them there. You cannot see it, but the card pushes them into SATA connectors, which is not good. So okay, let's start disassembling. 3090, freaking hell. 3 power connectors, 3 slot card. Gosh, crazy. So what do we have here? Okay, so this upper one, 2 USB on the what's called back panel, back plate, PCIe slot. It's just power. Got to remember that. It's just power, no data, for very specific thing, for powering up one of the audio interfaces. Okay, this bloody thing's going to be pretty hard to remove. I will need a wooden stick to avoid scratching anything, to be able to press down the, what's it called, the thingy on the PCI slot, the lock of the PCI slot. So I don't know how I managed to install this video card without actually, oops, okay, that fell inside somehow. We'll get it out. Okay. Doesn't want to come out, of course. In Guatemala, 25-50% higher than in the US. I think we have prices, well, right now I'm not sure what's going on. Right now we have of course, because of all the sanctions and whatnot, the prices are kind of like unpredictable. Let's put it that way, unpredictable. But before the war it was like maybe 10 to 20% higher, but lots of the stuff available on the American market, available on the European markets, well, mostly American, just never gets marketed here. So some premium things, some rare stuff, so pretty much only really mass-produced things end up here. Okay, how do we get this thing out? I don't understand. Here it is. Okay, needs some cleaning. Actually has way more dust in it than I expected. This one I bought used. Buying these things that are expensive, that are that expensive as this card used, it's like an adventure. But I got lucky, a good price, and the guy seemed legit, and he turned out to be legit. The thing is, I bought it just for AI things, to experiment like with AI things. As a user, I experiment as a user, as a just consumer, not a professional. So running locally things like Stable Diffusion, running locally things like large language models. I don't need its performance really, so I have it seriously downclocked, like 15% downclocked, I think, at all times. Just I need its memory. So okay, and without it, yeah, the largest thing here is the cooler. So let's keep going. Oh, come on. So this is my HDMI capture card. It's pretty much, it has some software and whatnot. I never installed it. What it does, it captures HDMI. So you have all HDMI out, in your computers, this is HDMI in. So that's how I treat it, that's how OBS treats it. What's good about this one, it can actually understand that when the resolution changes on the fly. So, but it goes only, I think, up to, well, 1080p, and I think only 60 frames. So it's HD capture. I'm not sure this one's going to work in Windows 11. So, but I really like the quality of this card. So it's like used now probably costs nothing if you don't mind running it at Windows 10 and you need 1080p capture, HDMI 1080p capture. This thing is like probably the best, would be the best bang for the buck. On AliExpress you can buy a lot of USB capture cards that are of course way easier to use, like this, but these ones, they capture in MPEG, and while it's okay if you like play games and whatnot, might be okay, MPEG is clearly visible when you capture like just interfaces. So this thing, yeah, you can see rules, but yeah, they have like, it's the brand doesn't matter because it's like there's a ton of them produced under different brands. It's just letters printed on the case and nothing else. So things like that, of course, way more convenient than a PCIe card, but the quality of it is inferior compared to this one. This one, so plus some of them cannot really understand the resolutions changing on the fly. Like for example, when you need to capture how your computer boots, so the BIOS, old things like old BIOSes, like when it would, like, I don't know, do some device detecting and whatnot. So if you want to capture that sequence, these things might not really able to do it, but this would. One of the best things I actually bought used. Okay, this is just a random cheapo network adapter, nothing special, 1 gigabit, the link DGE 560T, nothing special, using Realtek chip, yeah. So pretty much very old stuff. I have a whole box of them, but some of them are PCI, not PCIe even. So a whole freaking box. Okay, now where it gets a little bit where it starts getting a little bit harder. So this is just some additional USB, since I have 3 tons of peripheral devices connected to this computer, like a printer, synthesizer that I use uses a MIDI keyboard, 2 audio interfaces, currently 2 video cameras, so normally they would be connected to this one. So mouse, keyboard, of course, and more capture devices like the one I've just shown you. So that's why the amount of USBs is really important. So okay, this has to go too, but first we'll have to cut the zip tie. This is a pretty crazy one. That's like proper DIY stuff. This USB has only power in it, and the power comes from not from the motherboard, but from the power supply directly. So normally the this motherboard at least does not turn off 5 volts on its on its own USB slots. So if you plug this into my motherboard USB, you'd always be getting like 5 volts even when the PC is off. I needed 5 volts to be off when the PC was off, so that's why there's like a DIY adapter here. That pretty much feeds 5 volts from a standard Molex connector into these two USB slots. Okay, I actually got to remember the way it was connected to. It's really easy to destroy something when you if you just change polarity, and there's no keys on this connector, on this DIY adapter that I made. No keys, nothing. You can pretty much turn it around 180 and connect it that way. So I need to make a photo, or yeah, after connecting it I'll have to just test it again, just to be sure that this is safe. Okay, sorta kinda this way. I mean, the red's here on this side, and here we have the red one, so that's like +5, and the black one, that's like the ground, is on this side. So pretty much, well, I mean, I don't really need even to disconnect it. I just can take it out like this. Here we go. Okay, that's PCI. PCI is gone. This is the PSU shroud, so it's like compartmentalizes the case, creates its own compartment for the PSU. I usually don't connect it, but there's a cable that goes there. It's a fan. Okay, but the last time I assembled the PC, I decided to install it. So let's remove. This is actually a very nice case, though it was designed when nobody thought that the video cards might get that big as like my 3090, a freaking brick of a card, which is kinda pretty annoying. So this is like, plus there's like grommets here made of some sort of rubber. They kinda disintegrate, which is not good. It's a fan on a extender cable. Okay. The fan that cools the hard drives. Oh boy. Reassembling this back is gonna take way more time, especially if I want to get the card in. Plus might not be able to put even this PSU shroud back. Okay, so the motherboard's nothing special. Plus it actually has an annoying thing, I don't know what's wrong with it, but sometimes upon booting, it just does not detect my main SSD, my NVMe SSD. So a minor problem, but annoying. This is front panel audio that I don't use. Okay. This is all actually. Oh yeah. That's gonna be hard because I will probably have to redo all the cable management here. That's gonna be a whole freaking proper rebuild of the thing. Well, not today. Today just disassembling and maybe testing the new motherboard and new memory with the old CPU and cooler. So we have to get to the CPU today. So, but boy, this is going to be way more annoying. Huh. There's like four SATA cables, but one was this one, so the fifth one, it goes here, and we have 4 SATA cables and 1, 2, 3 devices. Ah, the fourth one's down there. Okay, I never removed it. There's enough SATA. It's just this one, these ones there in block of 3, in block of 4. Yeah, this is tight. This is very tight. Okay, front panel USB, then power, which is actually already kinda managed so tightly that I cannot even get it here a little bit, get it to this side a little bit. Okay, let's see if I can just, oh boy, that's like properly managed here. This all will have to be cut again. Oh boy, it's like absolutely crazy. I really want to avoid it. So let's see if I can pull this out without unmanaging it. Nope. Oh yeah, got it. So, but slightly different placement of power, fan connectors, USB connectors. Willy, nice to see you again. A ton of work, yes. A freaking real ton of work. Cannot even imagine. So here, these two actually, sometimes these two I think I connect aux CPU power. I connected them even before installing the motherboard. The whole trick. But there's enough space here to just get my hand in there. Though. I will probably have to. No, I won't be able to. That's a conundrum, sorta. Mickens cutting out. Thank you, Zaboni. Can you hear me now? Okay, now you should be able to hear me now. I found actually a dead battery among the ones I considered fresh. So Tekka, disassembling my rig to change the motherboard and try to fit even more things in here, which might be actually impossible because it's so packed already. It's actually more packed than I remember, more tightly packed than I even remembered. So I'm having problems just disassembling it without cutting all the cable management. Okay, let's take the motherboard out and then try to disconnect the additional power. Nice shirt, the same, just a shirt. I prefer shirts, not t-shirts. Okay. Black screws in the motherboard, in the black motherboard, look of course cool, but you kinda gotta look for them. They're not exactly immediately spottable. Yeah, I might need actually to even maybe do something with the cooler in order to get to some screws, but we'll see. So I'm just curious. Well, I just hope, really hope that maybe I won't need to redo the whole cable management, cut everything on the other side of the case and just do it again. Okay, we're out of focus again, I think. Tell me if this happens, please. Slightly out of focus. I'm using cameras with just manual focus. No, again out of focus. Like this. Just give me a sec. Where am I focused now? Can I actually lock it? That'd be great if I could just lock it. Just a second. Okay, lost a little bit after locking it. Come on. So I'm using cameras with just small lenses that are fully manual. Strange stuff from AliExpress, but at least it's USB and it doesn't have like huge delay. I used to use network cameras with network interfaces, so but those they have, because they're streaming devices, they have crazy delay and unstable delay. Okay, let's keep disassembling. Gaplat, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. I know I can see all three of the screws here on the top of the motherboard. So this is going to be a freaking puzzle to get it all together. or I just need a different case to have everything that I want in one case, which is kind of like a little bit too much at this point. Here we go. Good, good, good. Now can we get to those connectors? Here we go. The motherboard with the memory and CPU and cooler installed. So this motherboard, the plan is that I'm not getting rid of this motherboard. I will try to get another CPU for it, and this is going to be my spare PC instead of my current spare PC. So okay, just give me a sec. We got to move this out of the way. This is going to be interesting to figure out how to assemble it back with all the things I want inside. 2 video cards, for example. A bunch of hard drives. Out of the way. Just give me a second. I have a small, I don't even know how to call it, thingy that I use as a small desk for running motherboards, computers without cases, like this. Are we in focus? Sorta. Just a sec. Okay. Need to reposition this camera like this. I was still in focus, sorta. At least two angles is better than one. Maybe a little bit not in focus. That's not focus. That's not focus either. Oh, come on. Good old rings on the lenses that you have to turn. Okay, so let's get rid of the fans and remove the cooler, the radiator itself. So this is deep cool something I don't remember which one, some dark rock, black rock, something like this. I don't even remember exactly. So but I got an RGB version, and I bought separately different fans for it. So because those RGB fans first of all, I don't really need RGB. Second, these ones, they perform a little bit better. I'm sorry, but Noctua stuff is a little bit too expensive for me. Okay. So this we'll have to clean separately. And now, in order to take the cooler out, Kojak, welcome, welcome. We'll have to unscrew this screw here that you cannot see. No, you can, it's just a little bit dark. So one screw here and one screw there. And actually, we are going now to get an opportunity to take a look at the pressure applied by the cooler to the CPU and on the thermal paste spread on the CPU. Looks actually very good, though there's a bunch of white stuff. This is Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut, I think. But why do we have white? It's like normally it's pink. There is a little bit of white, like a different thermal paste, but I installed it. When I installed it, I cleaned everything. It didn't have anything else there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's yeah, you can see there's a little bit of white. Is it discoloration of the conductor node thermal compound, or is it, I don't know, no, looks like it's kind of discoloration of it. That's unexpected. So Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut, it's like probably the best performing thermal paste out there if we are not talking about liquid metal. And I didn't want to use liquid metal. As you can see, gonna get you, welcome, welcome. Yeah, been there, done that. As you can see, this CPU is mounted not in a standard CPU bracket. This uses a special frame-like bracket, because the problem with this CPU slot LGA 1700 is that it's the first one that's not rectangular, but they used, the designers of the slot, the retention bracket and whatnot, they used the same mechanism as for the rectangular smaller CPUs. So, and people figured out, for example Der Bauer, that that mechanism doesn't really work. It doesn't create enough pressure, doesn't really create enough force, and the CPU with that mechanism gets bent a little bit. So that not the way it breaks, no, but the way it deforms a little bit the IHS, the integrated heat spreader, the lid of the CPU, and it would not provide good contact with the cold plate of the cooler. So that's why these special frame-like brackets were designed, and I'm actually using this here for the slot. It's like, again, a thing that is a little bit more advanced than just taking everything, buying everything all the components and building a PC. This is like tinkering with the CPU slot and the retention bracket of the CPU slot, which can be dangerous because the LGA, what's called grid array. What's grid L? What's L in a grid array? LGA. So this grid array, it's like has extremely small and very delicate pins, and just removing another bracket, installing this one, you can damage it. So, but this applies the right force to the CPU and makes its lid flat. That's why it is here. Okay, so we will need a slightly different screwdriver head in here, screwdriver bit, to unscrew this thing. So this is Tor X and a big one. Oops, this corner come loose. This corner came loose. I'm curious why. That is unexpected. So they are all loose. No, this one's not. You're not supposed to really apply force when you tie the screws down, but this was a little bit beyond not applying any force. Some of them were loose. I don't think they have spring. I don't think they have a spring. Land grid array, yeah. So this is the land grid array, LGA. Okay. A little bit unexpected. So it's not like they were just not tight. This one was completely loose. Crazy. They don't have any springs. Well, you cannot really. I'm not sure. Is it? I don't know a number of exact number of torque that should be applied to these ones. I know that they shouldn't be tightened really, but Loctite looks like, yeah, looks like maybe we need that. Okay. Oops, it comes off with the CPU. Not good. The CPU is glued to it. Don't fall out, don't fall out, don't fall out. The CPU ended up being glued to it. So this is the dangerous part. This is the part that you shouldn't really do anything with at all. Okay, we need to clean this and get the CPU out of the frame. It's stuck in the frame. So let's get this out of the way for now, to prevent like even the slightest possibility of anything falling into the grid array. Radu1, welcome to YouTube chat. Sorry, my YouTube viewers, I'm not really reading my YouTube chat, so that I cut the first person there only by sheer luck. Welcome, Radu1, and the CPU is 13700K. 13700K. Okay, now the CPU just fell out. Cool. Okay, I never installed dirty CPUs, but this CPU looks like it has remnants of different thermal compound in it. I didn't know that Thermal Grizzly can change its color. Really, yeah, I haven't done that. I've been trying to. I've always been so careful, but one day this might happen. So, but this, I want to clean it completely and get it on camera that it is clean. And, well, I mean, when I assembled this, it was on camera, so I can pull this footage up and see that there was no any white thermal paste when I installed this. Okay, give me a sec. So yeah, it's not supposed to get hard. Maybe like it's not really a real Thermal Grizzly conductor now. Maybe it's fake. Counterfeit. Not conducting out, crying out. The thing about crying out, it should stay liquid at all times. But here it's like discolored and white. It's not really white, it's kind of like a little bit greenish. Like salad green. Okay, I think I need a toothpick. Just give me a second to clean the borders. Just a sec. Okay, I'm back with some toothpicks. Gonna get you. I mean, hasn't they switched to LGA 2, or was it only Threadripper? Okay, I want the CPU like completely clean. Even like residual stuff on the sides of the lid. Here we go. Now a little bit of, it's still a little bit pinkish, so let's use a little bit of alcohol wet wipes. I mean, I have proper isopropyl alcohol, isopropyl, yeah, but I prefer, in this case, I prefer wet wipes. Yeah, it's the same stuff with Intel CPUs, just that you have to fix not the CPU but the motherboard socket. I mean, it's still a little bit pink. Has this thermal paste etched itself in the HS. Okay, looks a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. Here, everything looks okay on this side. On the Intel side, the latest is LGA. The CPUs are without pins, it's just pretty much a circuit board, and all the pins are on the motherboard side. That's called land grid array, LGA slots, and they've been LGA for a long time. Okay, this is more or less clean. Now let's clean the retention frame. The spread of the paste actually was good, so the pressure was even, the lid of the CPU was flat, so cannot complain there, but the fact that the thermal paste started to change color. Okay, give me a second. More wet wipes. Okay, this is like, I need to Google it. I need to really Google it if Thermal Grizzly's conducting out, crying out, actually changes its color. So it comes pink, but here we have whitish, light greenish elements. So, which is something that I've never seen before. Thermal paste changing color. I mean, this is a special thermal paste, so who knows what it does. Okay, here we have the bracket more or less clean, and this bracket, I think it stays with this motherboard, so just because I have another bracket, the second bracket, which is the same one as this one, but a new one for the new motherboard. How do you spell what? I'm sorry. Thermal Grizzly's crying out. I mean, can you please figure it out just by the by the sound of it? Okay. We need to get the cooler. Okay, I forgot cooler brackets. Okay. Okay. Let's put the CPU back in to protect the socket, just to protect the pins. If you just hit the CPU with a screwdriver. Cry not extreme. Crap, I don't remember. Wait a second, gonna get you. Wait a second. Let me find. I maybe still have it. Yeah. Yeah, this is Crynout Extreme. Yeah. I found it. So, Crynout Extreme. So, it was pink. It is pink. But it started to change color at some places. Which is really suspicious if you ask me. So, oops. Oh, wrong bit. So these are the brackets of the cooler. They have no relation to the motherboard. It's the cooler stuff. Copper oxidation. I mean, the HS is obviously not copper. It's like, I think it's nickel. And this doesn't look like copper either. So we need to clean it, of course. But this, well, looks like nickel plated or something. Copper in the paste, maybe. Yeah. I got to Google it, read up on it, because it sounds a little bit crazy. So this is all just cooler parts. But yeah, this is actually pretty smart idea to put the CPU back in its socket. As you can see, the socket doesn't have a frame. I mean, the frame's this one. So the original frame's removed. Maybe a dye that burns off. I mean, the pink dye. If they used a dye, then maybe, yeah. Here we go. And this is the back plate. And this is the cooler back plate. The cooler back plate, and this is the socket back plate. Okay. Got everything completely. This normally doesn't come off. Yeah, completely removed. Okay, let's try to put some of this stuff back without damaging the slot. So the CPU goes out. The plate goes back. Which way though? It's not even glued because you're not supposed to remove it. Well, this is one of the I tell you, this is one of the best in terms of thermal conductivity value compounds out there. Oops, upside down. like that. Now really carefully, and now let's try not to drop anything in there. We need a different bit. Just a second. Okay, I'm just going to use the bit itself like this. Breaks down over 80. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe it's like breaking down and changing color. Though the guy who designed it, the company who designed it, it's like one of the most experienced overclockers in the world. Like scientist level pro, not just enthusiast. Okay, so still pretty easy to damage. So I wish there was a way to protect it with this when it's like this, but because this is like all just custom stuff, not stock, it stays like this. I can put a little bit of scotch tape maybe here. Okay, we need an SSD. There's an SSD here. We need to get this out. Just some other bits. Something small. I'm curious if I can get Loctite tomorrow. For these screws, but in another motherboard, not in this one. Okay. Here we have our SSD that I'm not using for my system. Yeah, I'm so bad. I never installed Windows 11. So, and it's been more than a year, I think, since I built this. Never installed Windows 11. Never started using this SSD for a system. This one currently contains the large language models. And the one that I boot from, it's just a SATA SSD drive that's actually way slower. So, I know it's not right, but it is what it is, I guess. I hate to do anything with my own rig. I mean, even if it's like my second PC or spare PC, or like a second PC that is actually a server, yeah, that I don't mind. But touching my main rig, I absolutely hate it. Okay, now this motherboard is, well, the memory stays here, 64 gigs of freaking. I'm going to have two PCs when I get a CPU for this motherboard. I used one, something like, I don't know, 600, 400, we'll see. It's going to be a spare PC with 64 gigs of RAM too. Stupidly crazy. As for LLM stuff, I might actually end up assembling a separate PC for that, which is going to be crazy too. But if there's no way to install this into my main rig, physically fit it, because hardware wise, software wise, it will work. It's like that the problem is that 3090 inside takes all the space. So okay, let's get this board out of the way. It needs a little bit more cleaning. The board itself, I prefer to work on only very clean components, but cleaning it without damaging the array, it's going to be it will have to be done in a very, very careful way. Okay, now let's take this out of the way. These are all the parts for the cooler, the CPU. So and let's clean this. Deepika Rajput, yeah, I'm not selling and I'm not giving out any PC parts. Sorry, I need them for myself. Sorry, not sorry. Plus, yeah, judging by the name, sending something to India, Pakistan, neighboring countries would cost like 3 tons of money. More probably than this stuff costs in there. Plus, it's actually crazy. I heard like Indian companies buy things from Russia, and they kinda go so crazy in buying things from Russia that for some reason that I don't know, like we're talking like electronics and but sometimes it would be just random things like plastic bags for electronic parts. They would try to buy them from Russia too, and that's crazy because this stuff's produced in China, the next country. I have zero understanding why some Indian companies try to buy these things here. I understand when they like would be trying to get some old Soviet parts to fix like some old Soviet equipment sent by Soviet Union to India a million years ago. Yeah, but again, more than half of it, I think 90% of it can be interchanged for modern Chinese parts. So, but they still try to buy the stuff from Russia. Like for example, old Soviet transformers, like this one. So, I mean, you can probably order this stuff in any quantities with any amount of windings, secondary, primary, in India. Oh, sorry, in China. And just pay, and they'll do it properly if you pay enough. So, but now they keep like looking for these things in Russia. Old Soviet junk. That's, well, I mean, it's not junk really. This thing would work. Kill somebody, burns it, overloads it or something, sends the wrong current, the wrong voltage to it or something. But again, if you're trying to fix something as old as this transformer, at this point it might be better to think about just maybe looking for some Chinese variants of this stuff, especially if you live in India. But no. Some of the companies, Indian companies that buy things from Russia, I heard even tried to buy paint, and not some like specific paint. It's just because that paint has in its like well, technical specifications mentioned that it's an analog of some old Soviet paint. But I mean, you again go to the next country, which is China, from India, and you find like million variants of that in China. Okay, there's a little bit of dust here. I want to get rid of that, and it's time to use the vacuum cleaner. Just give me a sec. Okay, just give me a sec. Where's my paintbrush? Ah, here it is. So since we get a chance, oh crap, just a second. Forgot to plug the vacuum cleaner in. Here we go. Okay, the fans, let's do them too. Where are they? The fans. This side's kinda okay, not really dirty at all. And this side looks okay too. Okay. Oh boy. Now it's time to get the new motherboard. and figure out if actually this cooler is going to fit with all the memory and that motherboard. So, oh god, why is everything so hard today? Nothing goes according to plan. Here's the new one. Nothing special, just a motherboard, H770 Plus by Asus. Though it's Prime, but that's where I bought it. Paid pretty seriously for the memory. The memory is here. It is DDR5 5200 megatransfers per second, CL36 4040, 2x32. Disrupted Harmony, good evening, welcome. Welcome. Yeah, nothing really works the way it's supposed to. Oh boy, this I think motherboard is a little bit seriously different. We have definitely less space between the first obstacle on the lower side from the CPU socket and the frame might not even fit in here. Okay, let's see. But I got this motherboard because it has one additional PCIe slot on top of the main PCIe slot for the video card. So it would be, let's try it actually. It would be like, it would be like this. Careful. I hope you're not going to fall. Then like this, and then this is not going to work this way. No, it works if you don't have a case. But if you do it like this, there will be zero airflow for this. No, technically it fits. But like, it'll just suffocate, the NVIDIA card will suffocate this one. Oh god, and this one is so big that I cannot even use a riser. So, but it technically fits, and technically the one slot still there. So, still available. So no, if you don't have a, can I show it to you? If you don't have a case, then it will work. This sandwich. My capture card, my 3090, my NVIDIA Tesla P40, and this is just for fun. But technically for PCIe devices. God. This is like this would be insane. And the cooling is not going to work this way. So this adapter should be like here. No, the cooling actually would work. This adapter would fit. Only need some space in here. So to make it work, we will need a riser, and we will need more than a riser. The riser is not a problem. Pretty much a riser is a PCIe slot extender. That's not a problem. The problem would be fitting it in the case. There's one slot there. Two actually PCIe slots for the video card, for a video card. Okay, just cleaned it a bit, cleaned this side a bit. So there's space for 2-slot video card on the riser, so for something like this. But 3090 here, so it would be, let me show you. So with the riser it would be like placed like this here, and normally it would work. But with 3090 in here, it's taller than pretty much anything. The distance from the motherboard to the top of it, it's like way higher, and this just wouldn't fit. Gosh, if I want to run this and that, I will need a new case. And this case is pretty good. I really like it. It's just not for crazy people. It's not for crazy ideas like running 2 pretty big GPUs in one case. Oh boy. Okay, so another problem. This. See, these capacitors, they're very close. Like on this motherboard, they're like way farther. So let's see if we can mount the bracket here, the retention bracket. By the way, if you ever want to remove like the stock bracket here, it has a spring. First unlock it, then remove the screws, because if you don't unlock it, when you remove the screws, it'll jump out with unpredictable consequences as to what it might hit around. Hey, keep using wrong bits today. So let's see. I understand that I want too much from just one computer. I understand it. So normally you don't need to remove this, but because we are using a custom bracket, we are removing this. Here we go. Okay, looks a little bit better without the stock bracket here. Let's take our custom frame type bracket. So, but yeah, actually, if we are talking about Loctite, which is a very good idea. Oh no, it fits. Oh boy, at least this fits. The caps are not in the way. Okay. Let's drop the CPU in. For now. Put the screws back in. So I didn't even expect it, but the screws and this bracket on another motherboard, they came actually loose. You're not supposed to really tie them down. Like you just screw them in until it stops. Because if you over tighten them, it will deform the CPU, and again the thermal contact situation will be even worse. Like this. Like this. So now let's see about the cooler. The memory. Let's drop the memory in. So that's pretty bold decision, but I guess it's time. 32 gigabyte modules on all my previous platforms has always been like a pretty extreme thing, have been an pretty extreme thing, but I guess it's time to finally use them, start using them. Okay, do we have actually any? Finally there is an explanation on the motherboard, an instruction which DIMMs to install first. They printed it in a fine print, but it's there. The farthest from the socket. So Kingston Fury Beast DDR5. Finally DDR5 system. Should be like this, I suppose. Nope. Here we go. Now it's properly inserted. Everything looks okay here. So the question, just for the testing purposes, do I need to use the rest of my Thermal Grizzly crying out? Do I want to use it? Or maybe I could, for just testing, use like some other stuff. Arctic MX5, I think I have. So because I think I have only just a little bit of Cryonaut thermal paste left. Like the memory is closed, but that's normal. There's this thing closed, this heat spreader from the VRMs, the CPU power supply and circuitry. So these are not supposed to be tight either. I lost one. Where did it go? I can see it. So that's the mounting mechanism for the cooler. Okay, just give me a sec. So which way it goes here? Outside or inside? I actually don't remember. We can take a look at the footage when I disassembled it. Just give me a second. I can of course take a look at the manual, download it on the internet, but a little bit easier would be just to take a look at my VOD. Let's not. Okay, give me a sec. I can actually show it to you. Ah, no. Come on, load. Hard to see. Capturing wrong display. Because it's a different computer running the same system. Complete 100% the same. It's a copy of my main rig. So if I make it larger, they like look outside or inside. Cannot even see. They look inside, I think. These corners. Which is amazing when it comes towards. Barley can play them. Barley can navigate them through them. Oh, come on. Now I can see. So both of the brackets, they should be looking like that towards each other, like this. Okay, let's see if it works. This mechanism is not really precise, but at least it has its own special backplate that, well, I mean, because it's a tower cooler and a pretty big one, so, but still, for example, if we're talking about the old stuff on AliExpress, for example, they have a ton of tower coolers that just mounted on some sort of mounts that I don't even know if they can be trusted with the weight of just the smallest cooler. Okay, test fit, test screen. That's not a real one. Let's just see if we can make it run bit, of course. If we can just make it. Here we go, cut the thread. Cut the thread here. Well, technically we can test if the thing works without really applying any thermal paste at all. We can test it without it. We don't even need to put on coolers. If we want just to see the BIOS without booting any systems, then the mass and the quality of the contact we have now here should be 100% enough. So seems to be that there's enough clearance anyway. At least it's not less than on the previous motherboard, so wow, there is an interesting difference. Let me take a look. So this is not really a cheap motherboard, and this one is kinda, I think they're of the same, more or less level. So different chipset, yeah, different memory, yeah, stuff like that, but this one has two CPU power connectors, and this one has only one. Now technically, if you don't care about standards and whatnot, you of course can draw pretty serious current through these ones if you don't really care. Oh, nice. There's M.2 for Wi-Fi, vertical M.2 for Wi-Fi. Would be nice to use it for a drive. Nice. This motherboard has a lot less SATA. Oh boy. Okay. So the previous motherboard had 6 SATA, and this one has only 4 SATA ports. So unfortunately we have to there is a way to fix that, a pretty interesting way, though it might actually interfere with the max speed available to the PCI slots, but there are actually adapters, M.2 adapters that go instead of the M.2 SSDs, and they have like a bunch of SATA on them, so that's that we can find a workaround for. But if we have like cards everywhere, we might not be able to use that. So technically speaking, it would be just time for me to really rethink my hard drive storage on this computer, if I want to have these options to, well, I mean, I cannot have everything on one PC. It's like impossible. 2 video cards and at the same time a bunch of hard drives, unless I would just use a very big and expensive motherboard. But again, then there's a problem with physically fitting everything in the case, and on top of that, it would be just even if I found the right case, it would be just crazy. This case that I have, it's pretty large. So, hey, are we streaming? Yeah, we are. So, it looks like that I will have to well, I mean, even if I get rid of the cage, hard drive cage in the case, and that'll give me just enough space here to install both video cards, then the P40, as I've shown you, it will pretty much suffocate the 3090. Okay, it's impossible to do this with one hand. Like that. So 4090 will be 100% suffocated by P40. Again, another problem with planning. Okay, but let's at least try to turn this thing on. Got to do something with it today. So we'll need a power supply. Just let me get everything, all the stuff around me a little bit under control. Get out of the way. You get out of the way. So let's just see if it even just posts. We don't need much from it today, just posting. But that I'd love to take a look at, if it can do it. Because we had a problem with the previous motherboard and the CPU. The thing is that it was like motherboard, it is, well, it's still here, for 12th generation of Intel CPUs, and I installed the 13th generation, which was supported but with newer versions of BIOS. But the motherboard came with older version of the BIOS, and it just wouldn't, of course, start at all. and we had to use that mechanism of flashing the BIOS without working CPU in the motherboard, and that mechanism is touchy as hell, tricky, and the main thing with that thing that the flash drive you use to actually supply the new BIOS firmware for the motherboard, it's really sensitive to the type of the flash drive, that mechanism, so, and how it's formatted. So, and I think it should be only MBR, only FAT32 flash drives. So, but that depends on the flash drive as well. Yeah, and actually I lost quite some nerve cells and sweat a lot when we tried to do it, because it was not obvious really if the thing even like was flashing anything till it actually started flashing. Yeah, really, yeah. We had to use that mechanism that I never used before, and I heard about it, like lots of complaints about it, that it's like tricky. So let's get this working at least. Let's see if it works. So we need a power supply with some cables. I have a whole box of cables for them. So some custom ones. Yeah, look. That's not that what's Cable Expert, I don't remember the name of the company, not even close. And actually these wires here, it's just standard electrical wires for electrical wiring. But yeah, if you have plugs and if you have a way to crimp them on, then yeah. So what do we need here? We're going to need video 3090, no less, and that's going to take quite some video cables. What's this? PCIe. Another PCIe. So this should be like this. This goes here. Additional CPU power goes here. That's not the power supply that's in my main rig. I didn't remove that. It's going to stay there for now. So now 3 PCIe. This one hasn't been even unpacked. One more PCIe. Oh, this freaking monster. Absolutely crazy. The board itself is not that big. the size of this card is the cooling. Don't move. Okay. Technically, we don't need all the power to test it, but who knows how this particular card would react if we don't give it its additional power. Might not just even do anything at all. Might not just even give us any image whatsoever. Oh god, what's wrong with this connector? Okay. This is like all powered. Hey, am I stupid? Because I am. I am stupid. The CPU has a video card in it. I'm not used to it because I've been using CPUs without video cards without integrated video for quite a while. Oh god, okay. I don't really want to even turn the system on even like for 30 seconds with this card not being properly fixed in place. Really, yeah, I keep forgetting. This is the K CPU, not KF. This is 3700K. It has a video. Sounds. Okay, give me a second. So let's move this out of the way. We got power. We got power. We got CPU power. Now we need actually electricity. The mains. And we need a monitor. Oh god. Forgot about the most important part. Okay, there's just a cable here. That'll do. I totally forgot about the monitor. Here I have a small microscopic power strip. What to do with the monitor? I have a monitor, a spare monitor, of course. but I have only one. That's 1080p. I have a bunch of old stuff, but 1080p, only one. And the thing with the new motherboards, their BIOSes, they really sometimes don't know what to do with the monitor. That's one less thing to smoke here. So the new BIOSes sometimes, by the look of it, don't know what to do with monitors that has lower resolutions, or if it's like not 16 by 9 or 16 by 10. So I had one MSI motherboard that displayed completely ruined BIOS image, because, well, I mean graphical BIOS, like the one with buttons and mouse and whatnot. So when I would connect it to do we have any power here, please? Like this. Would connect it to old 4x3 monitor, the one that's almost square. Okay. Now I need HDMI cable, because this monitor, it has only HDMI. That's long HDMI and strangely rigid, but I guess it'll do. There's no way of connecting it without seeing the slot itself, the socket itself. Okay. Now this goes here. Now let me figure out how to give you imagery of the screen, because I don't have my capture device ready. I totally forgot about it. So I guess it's gonna be something like, oops. Something like this. Oh yeah. Cool focus. That's, I think, the widest I can go on this lens. It's Tokyo, good evening, welcome. 13700K. Oh boy. So let's we need at least the keyboard. Let's get it working. So I have like a very basic wireless here. So let's test it again. This is only a test because it was a test fit of the cooler. We don't have any fans attached to it. More than that, we don't have thermal paste under it. So and I'm just rebuilding it. It's Tokyo. I'm just rebuilding it. So that's a different motherboard, which is not as good as the previous one. The only 100%, well, I mean, I don't know the thing about detecting the hard drive, detecting the SSDs. The previous motherboard seemed to have maybe problems with that, maybe, but the layout of PCIe slots didn't help. I have physical limitations of the case, and the rest of it, it's like, wait a second, this is H, and yeah, the previous one Z, so, but Z600 and this is H700. Okay, power on, power on, power on. Power on. No, this is power on. Okay. Now we need to start it. Just give me a sec. Power, 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 LED. God, I cannot read this. Power switch. Nothing happens. Am I reading it right? Do we have power? We seem to have power. Is the power supply on? Yeah, I need actually a cooler connected to it just to see if it does anything. Maybe it doesn't even have a single LED on it if it's a basic board. Okay. Let's get a cooler connected, something at least. Okay. The board seems to be doing something. Even with the power off. The cooler is spinning. Tries to spin. Okay, maybe it was memory training. And because of no LEDs, I am so used now to LEDs, to motherboard indication, that... Okay, no, it powers on. It tries to power on. Okay, maybe we need audio then, if we don't have any indications. No sound from the beeper, and the same reaction from the motherboard. That's what it's doing. Another BIOS problem. Are you kidding me? Or what is it? without any sounds from the speaker. I cannot even understand what's going on. Are you trying to tell me this one has a bias problem too? But I don't think it has this mechanism of flashing bias without the CPU. Oh boy. So it definitely turns on, but then does only this. And I'm not actually hearing anything at all. No clicks, like it's not tripping our current protection. It just does that. Okay. I guess we have a problem. I'm kind of curious to see if we can see what's going on with the power LED. Is it blinking? So let's take a look. Stop. Just a sec. Should be visible now if I connected it right. No, I did not connect it right. That's not a good sign. Okay. This is kinda unexpected. Okay, give me a second. I will try to Google it, but not on stream, and go and have something to drink and think about it. So give me a second and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back now. So I have googled things a little bit, thought about it a little bit, and the reason might be BIOS itself. Some motherboards would not react with error post error codes, so when they see memory they cannot detect. And I took a look at the BIOS version history for this motherboard, and definitely I found that motherboard actually had a bunch of BIOS releases. Actually, let's take a look at the motherboard to see if we have like any BIOS info here. Yeah, probably the first version of the BIOS. Just according to manufacturing date, 2023-07. It's like, according to the website, that's around the first release of their BIOS. So any additional info? No, only this sticker. So, and since then there have been a bunch of BIOS releases for this motherboard, and some of them mention large capacity memory stick support, so specifically like large capacity, which might be our problem in this case. So let me take a look if this motherboard supports BIOS flashback, because doesn't look like it. Oops, that was the camera. Doesn't look like it does. Just a second. So I have some documentation. That's short quick start guide. Okay, no. That's warranty. Special offer. User guide. BIOS setup, moving BIOS. Reading the manual here. Crash-free BIOS, easy flash. Let's take a look. So easy flash, it's when it actually posts, of course. Crash-free BIOS 3 it's called here. Download the latest BIOS version for this motherboard from rename Asus Cap PH Cap something, copy renamed BIOS, turn on the system. No, it has to boot. It has to actually post to use Crash-free BIOS 3. This motherboard doesn't have this motherboard, by the look of it, doesn't have, which I suspected, that BIOS flashback function where you can flash it without it even posting, so without even CPU and memory installed. Okay, so To troubleshoot this, we will need some other DDR5 memory. That's of course a little bit annoying, but I guess that would be the first start either way, because we're using very large capacity 32 gigs DIMM modules, which is, I guess, still big for modern PCs. So I will have to get something more conventional, like an 8 gig stick, and I'll have to try to run this thing with it. So, but interesting that I connected the speaker right, I hope. Yeah, I did. So no sound from the speaker, unfortunately. No errors. Usually it would be like memory error, but not in this case, unfortunately. So I guess it means that the only thing we can do is to get some other memory and try it with some other memory. And for now, that probably might be just it. So I don't have any DDR5 memory sticks, which is of course a problem. I have a ton of DDR4, I have DDR3, I even might find DDR2, but not DDR5. This is like the first system with DDR5 that I got. Oh boy, okay. Then I will have to get DDR5 tomorrow. And Loctite, because I don't have it. So I guess let's call it a day, and we'll continue our experiments with this board tomorrow. So unexpected result. I usually figure out things like just in one stream, at least like the problems. I'm not like building the PC and whatnot, cable managing it, but figuring things out. Rarely I have to end the stream without at least a small win, but we'll continue it tomorrow. I will have to get I will get a stick of memory. I'll find a way, and we will try some different memory here. So thank you very much for watching. Don't miss the tomorrow stream. I expected it to be more than one stream easily, but the fact that we couldn't even post, we'll have to try to fix that tomorrow. And for now, this is it. Let's find somebody to rate and call it a day. Just give me a second. Just give me a short second here. Just a short second. And for me personally, it's like not that much of a problem that my main rig is out right now, because, well, I'm streaming from my spare PC. So, but it is annoying that it's not working the way it's supposed to. Just give me a second. Goplo, thank you for your follow during the stream. I think this is the only new follower tonight. So let's see who we can raid. Somebody playing something. Or somebody building something. Just a sec. Okay. Maybe. Oh god, I cannot even open the right pages anymore. Anybody is building? Is anybody building anything? What's going on in the science and technology section of Twitch? There's lots of kind of pretty strange random stuff. Lots of strange automated streams. Okay. Cannot rate myself. Is this guy building anything? He's on a break, unfortunately. I cannot even confirm if he is doing anything. Not sure who to rate. Give me a second. I guess somebody playing something else. If we cannot find people doing some DIY, people doing some, like, I don't know, fixing, soldering, PC building, then I guess we should try to go and find somebody who we know who's playing something. Yeah. The streams that are down here in the basement of science and technology, it's basically not really live stuff with people, with streamers, which is annoying. Automated streams like seismic activity or weather or some chicken coops on the farm, that's not really that interesting, to be honest. Let's go and say hi to Rob. That's our pretty much not lossless, lossless variant. So yeah, he is playing Hades. Well, in Russian that would be Goddess. Hades. That's it for tonight. We'll continue our PC building adventures tomorrow when I get one stick of just one basic stick of DDR5, and yeah, kinda disappointing, but we'll fix it tomorrow. Goodbye and good night.